Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rant? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting the history. And what we're going to talk about in this video, guys, is we're going to talk about Kevin Durant and how this man has become more and more exposed. Every time they try to keep pumping Kevin Durant up as the greatest Olympic player in U.S. history. They're really trying to promote this narrative now that Kevin Durant is the greatest Olympic men's basketball player in U.S. history. And all this does is expose Kevin Durant as a front runner, guys. And once again, they're not giving you the honest facts, man, and they're not respecting the history of the Olympics, man. They're not. We're going to talk about in this video because when I hear people call Kevin Durant the greatest U.S. Olympian for basketball, to me, once again, this exposes him and him not being a true leader, him not being a true competitor, and him being a front runner extraordinaire, guys. We're going to talk about this video. And I want to thank you guys, man, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel, man. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Special thanks to anyone who's sending me super thanks. Shout out to my man K, QUE, coming through with the super thanks. Shout out to all you guys out there, man. Shout out to my man Vernon Lee Warren for coming through with the super thanks. Shout out to my man Gary for coming through with the super thanks. Guys, I'm truly humbled by all the support, man. Shout out to everybody in the membership. You guys continue to support my channel. Thank you, guys. It's truly, truly humbling, man. And we must continue to stand up, so thank you. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I've been hearing a lot of stuff on social media, on the internet, about Kevin Durant being the greatest U.S. men's basketball player of all time. And I had a quote, or heard a quote from Mike Krzyzewski that basically said the same thing. He called Kevin Durant the greatest U.S. men's Olympic player in the history of the Olympics, of men's basketball. And guys, off the jump, we must understand something and come to a complete understanding, and we must educate people on the Olympics, on basketball, men's basketball in the Olympics, guys. When people keep talking about Kevin Durant, I've heard people throw out Carmelo Anthony's name as the greatest U.S. men's Olympic basketball players of all time. But when they talk about these guys and they make these statements, once again, they're not giving you the history. They're not giving you the facts. Because let's understand something and be real here. The USA has been dominating basketball, guys, since the beginning. Since the beginning. And this I'm always telling you guys, right? We should be dominating the sport. It's our sport. From day one, guys, the USA has 9 Olympic gold medals before they even introduced NBA players. So before 1992 Olympics, the USA had already had 9 gold medals, guys. 9 gold medals for men's basketball in the Olympics. And the thing about it was we were sending amateurs. Every year, every time the Olympics came around, we sent amateurs out there. Kids, 18, 19 years old, right? Kids out there to play against grown men, other professionals from other countries. And we were still winning the gold handily, guys. Year after year, every Olympics, we were winning gold. The only 2 years that we did not win gold was, we all know, the 72 Olympics, which we all know it was a complete hose job, right? That we all know one of the most controversial finishes in Olympic history, that 72 Olympics, when they kept replaying the time for the Soviet Union, right? You guys remember that. And USA lost in the gold medal game, and they got the silver. And then we all know about 1988. They won the bronze medal in 1988. Those are the only 2 years that we were in the Olympics, the men, and that they did not win gold, guys. The only 2 years with amateurs there, while the other countries were sending out their best, their professional athletes, grown men, to play against kids, and we still dominate the sport. So why am I saying all that? Because when they talk about Kevin Durant, they call him the greatest Olympian of all time for basketball. It don't make any sense. They're saying that as if the USA has been sending NBA players, professionals, the entire time for all these years. I believe the United States has 20 appearances. This might be the 21st appearance in the Olympics. And once again, like I said, we have all these gold medals. And we had 9 gold medals before 1992, guys. Before 92, we were dominating, winning gold every Olympics. Once again, with amateurs, when other countries were sending their professionals out there, grown-ups, to play against the amateurs, and we were still dominating. Still dominating the sport, guys, because once again, it's our sport. We should be dominating. So when they talk about Kevin Durant and they label him as the greatest Olympian as far as U.S. men's basketball, it don't add up, because we've only been sending NBA players for what? since 1992. So you're talking about, what, 30 years now that we've been sending professionals, a little bit over 30 years that they've been sending professionals to the Olympics, right? So what does that equal to? Like about 9 different Olympics that we played in since they started adding professionals in there. So if you think about that, we've got what? Just as many silver and bronzes with the professionals than we did when we were saying the amateurs, when they had 1 silver and 1 bronze in all those years, guys. 1 silver, 1 bronze, 9 gold medals before that. So if that's the case, once again, this exposes Kevin Durant. And when these people talk about he's the greatest Olympian in U.S. men's basketball history, it doesn't even add up, because there haven't been professional athletes, pros in the Olympics the entire time. So you're really only talking about over the last 10 Olympics, over the last 30 years or so, that this has been going on. So once again, they're not educating the people and giving them the honest facts when they say these things. If you want to say that Kevin Durant is the best Olympian since we've been sending professionals, maybe you could say that, but I still don't once again buy that, because all this does is what I'm telling you guys, it exposes Kevin Durant. It exposes him. So you're going to say that he's the greatest Olympian of all time when he's playing with other professionals. So really, how much harder was it for Kevin Durant than it was for Michael Jordan in 1984, let's say, for example, when he's playing with other college kids? Now, yes, some of the players on that team would go on to become great NBA players, guys like Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullin. We get all that. We're not saying that that's not the case with a lot of these amateurs. If you think about the 1960 Olympic team, before the Dream Team in 92, that was considered the greatest Olympic team for men's basketball. The 1960 Olympic team with Bill Russell, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, I believe, was on that team. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's not 60. I'm trying to remember. It was one of those years, right? It was one of those years where you had all these great players on that Olympic team. And what happened, guys? Once again, they won the gold medal and they were recognized as the greatest team. But once again, this was all amateurs. These were not professional athletes at the time. They were not professional athletes. So when we think about that and we think about some of the great players that have played for the Olympics, they were playing for the Olympics when they were amateurs. These guys didn't have multiple Olympics to play because it was amateurs. So you really only had like one time to play for the Olympics. There was only really one window for you to play. You were in college and the Olympics came around when you were in college, then you were able to maybe get in there and play. So it wasn't like these guys back in the day were playing in the Olympics and they played in 3, 4, 5 Olympics. More often than not, these guys played in either one Olympic or they didn't even play in the Olympics. Larry Bird had never won a gold medal, never played in the Olympics before 1992. That was part of the reason why he was on the team. That was part of the reason. He had never went to the Olympics. If you guys remember, in 1980, there was no Olympics for the United States. We boycotted the Olympics that was being held in the USSR, right? There was a Cold War going on, and we boycotted. I believe it was in Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. And the USA did not go to those Olympics. So there was no 1980 Olympics. So once again, there were a lot of guys that never got a chance to play in the Olympics because they were in college at the time and there was no Olympics or their time didn't come, right? So it's not like now where these guys, how many times has Kevin Durant been in the Olympics? This like, what, his 4th Olympics? I believe he was there in 2012, 2016. I believe he was there in 2020. And now he's here again in 2024. And much respect for Kevin Durant for going out there and participating. But once again, when you're calling him the greatest Olympian of all time, it's not a valid comparison. Who are you comparing him to? Who? Michael Jordan played in 1 Olympics as a professional. 1 Olympic as a professional. You're going to sit there and tell me that Michael Jordan couldn't have played in 1996? Or he couldn't have tried to play in 2000 on the Olympic team? No, he didn't do that, though. Because guys did not do that. That was not the way it was. Michael Jordan didn't even want to play in the 92 Dream Team. They literally had to talk Michael Jordan into playing. And one of the main reasons why he went there was to hang out with some of these guys that he didn't get a chance to hang out with off the court, so to speak. He wanted to hang out with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Clyde Drexler and some of these guys, Patrick Ewing, right? He wanted to get to know some of these guys, get to know some of their tendencies, get to know some of their weaknesses. He was going there for the camaraderie of it. This is why they didn't want Isaiah Thomas there. There would have been no camaraderie with an Isaiah Thomas there. So when you think about that and you call Kevin Durant the greatest Olympian, who are you comparing him against? Guys that played in 1 Olympics because they were in college, they didn't have professionals playing? It's not a valid comparison. You're giving Kevin Durant all these props, but the history's not there. There is no history for this. Like I said, a lot of these guys only played in 1 Olympics. In 1 Olympics. How many Olympics is Shaquille O'Neal playing? Right? How many Olympics did Michael Jordan play as a professional? He played in 1, guys. So it doesn't add up when they just started putting professional players in the Olympics a little bit over 30 years ago, guys. So what are we saying here? Also, like I told you guys, all this does is expose Kevin Durant as a front runner. A front runner, guys. Kevin Durant is awesome, right? When he's got other great players on the team, other all-star caliber players on his team. And I'm not saying that every Olympic team that Kevin Durant's played on was stacked like this year's team is. No, there was not no Steph Curry's on some of these other Olympic teams that Kevin Durant was. LeBron James wasn't on, I believe, the 2020 Olympics. And I believe he wasn't on the 2016 Olympic team, if I remember correctly. So if we think about that, there's been many times where Kevin Durant was playing, but he's playing with other all-star caliber players and almost superstar level talent on these Olympic rosters, man. This is not Kevin Durant out there with a bunch of veterans, a bunch of veteran role players, some bums, some guys that aren't that good. He's out there with quality players. This is our sport. So once again, Kevin Durant looks great out there on the Olympic stage when he's out there with other great players, right? When he don't have to be a real leader, right? You don't have to develop guys, right? You don't have to really fit into any kind of system. And just throw Kevin Durant out there with a bunch of other great players and then let Kevin Durant do what he does. Once again, playing against these soft international players, I'm not impressed with what Kevin Durant has done during international play. Once again, this is what they're supposed to be doing when you talk about the United States and the dominance that the United States has had in Olympic basketball since its inception, guys. It hasn't been like, oh, we've been dominating since we put the professionals out there. That's the point I was making to you guys. The USA was dominating basketball before professionals were even there. And we were going against the other country's professionals. And we were still beating them handedly. 9 gold medals, guys. 9 gold medals before they even introduced professional athletes for the USA in basketball. It wasn't like they had 9 bronzes or they had 1 gold medal and they were never qualifying or they weren't even medaling in these Olympics. They're winning gold literally every Olympics except for 2. And if we look at since they've had the professional players, we've got all gold medals except for 2. Right? So when we think about some of these things, man, once again, the amateurs, what they were doing, you could say that it was greater than what the guys are doing now as professionals. You're literally doing what you're supposed to be doing. Right? You're 30, 40-point favorites against a lot of these countries. There's a reason for that. I'm sure the amateurs back in 1936 or the amateurs back in the 50s or the 60s, they weren't 30, 40-point favorites over some of these teams, man. They were not. But we were winning. Kevin Durant's a front runner. He's basically been exposed as a front runner when people make these comments about Kevin Durant, the greatest Olympian of all time. Good for him. You want to label Kevin Durant the greatest men's Olympian of all time? Okay. What does that mean? That literally means nothing. So you're saying that he's been the greatest Olympian since 1992. That's literally what you're saying. And you're basically giving him that because what, he scores the most amount of points? Because he takes all these shots and he scores some points? What does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. And yes, the USA has been winning the gold medal with Kevin Durant. I believe he has, 3 gold medals I want to say Kevin Durant has? I'm not sure what he has up until this point. But you're talking about the gold medals and Kevin Durant playing on the Olympics, man. I'm not impressed. Once again, Kevin Durant leading a group of other all-star players in the Olympics is not proving anything. It's not doing anything. Because if we think about Kevin Durant and we think about his NBA career, this is where he gets exposed as a front runner. His entire NBA career backs up that whole claim of Kevin Durant being a front runner. It exposes that. And now all this Olympic stuff, once again, highlights him being a front runner. Kevin Durant is great, man, when he's playing with great players in a system, right? Kevin Durant looks amazing when he's playing with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and the rest of the Golden State Warriors. Right, Kevin Durant looks great when he's playing with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Steph Curry in the Olympics, and he's playing with this guy or that guy in the Olympics, right? He's got all these other talent around him on the Olympics. Kevin Durant's amazing, right? But when you put Kevin Durant or you think about Kevin Durant and you say, what has Kevin Durant won since he left Golden State? The man has won 2 playoff series. 2 playoff series, guys. 2. And I believe one of the playoff series that they did win in Phoenix was when Kawhi Leonard got hurt. Like he always does. But Kawhi Leonard got hurt and missed, I think, 3 of those games in that series. Or 2 of the games, whatever it was. And the Phoenix Suns were able to beat the Clippers in the first round, I think, a couple years ago. But since Kevin Durant's left Golden State, guys, since he left Golden State after the 2018-19 season, this man has won 2 playoff series. 2. And it's made to the second round twice. That's it. He hasn't been to a conference finals since he's left Golden State for either for Brooklyn or the Phoenix Suns. Not even close. As a matter of fact, this past season, he got swept in the first round. In the first round, he was swept. Kevin Durant, the greatest Olympian of all time. How embarrassing does that sound? That the greatest U.S. men's basketball player they're going to claim can't even get out of the second round. Can't lead a team anywhere. Nowhere. Never won an NBA championship as a true leader. He had a team hop and joined Steph Curry, right? And ride Steph Curry's coattails. And once again, Steph Curry won before Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry won after Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant did not win before or after Steph Curry. And he hasn't even been close since he left Golden State. Not even close. And I don't want to hear any excuses about injuries, man. That was years ago that Kevin Durant had that injury, years ago. And I'm pretty sure that Steph Curry was dealing with injuries throughout his career, and he was still able to overcome and win, like I said, without Kevin Durant, before and after him. No excuses for Steph Curry and his injuries and all the ankle problems he had when he first came in the league. A lot of great players have dealt with injuries, man, significant injuries. Injuries all throughout their careers. Kevin Durant really had only one significant injury throughout his career. And once again, don't talk to me about injuries when Kevin Durant's game is not predicated on athleticism. I thought it was Kevin Durant, the most skilled scorer in NBA's history. People keep telling you. So if he's that skilled, then you can't make excuses for injuries. Injuries. And everybody keeps talking about how great Kevin Durant looks. Oh, Kevin Durant looks amazing since he came back from injury. He's able to do this, this, and this. But Kevin Durant is not a leader. He don't play no defense like that. He's not a good rebounder. The man's 7 feet tall, averages 7 rebounds a game. That's pathetic, man. That's mediocre at best. 7 feet tall, you're barely averaging 7 rebounds. Don't play no defense. They ain't made not one all-defensive team in his entire career. Not one all-defense, not even a second team for Kevin Durant, even though he's got those long arms and the height. All this stuff because he's soft and he's frail. Everyone wants to talk about Kevin Durant on the offensive end when he does shooting the ball. That's it. He's a front runner. Without the team around him, he does nothing. He can't lead people. He's not a leader. He can't develop guys and make them better. He didn't make Russell Westbrook better. Russell Westbrook made Kevin Durant better, apparently. He didn't galvanize none of those guys. He played with a lot of talent in Oklahoma City, guys. A lot of talent. He played with talent in Brooklyn. But they'll say, oh, Kyrie Irving was injured. No, he wasn't. Kyrie Irving was injured. James Harden was injured. More excuses for Kevin Durant. He had a very good team around him, Kevin Durant. Really good role players. He led them nowhere. Nowhere. Right? Kevin Durant against in the Phoenix Suns. Like I said, they won a playoff series with Devin Booker averaging 37 points a game. 37 points a game in one of the series that they won. Kevin Durant was averaging, 26 points a game? Almost over 10 points less than Devin Booker in that series. So who led who? Who was the real leader? Who was the scorer? Who had all the skills? It looked like Devin Booker was leading them. And we all know Devin Booker's a frail, soft dude, man. And he ain't really never done anything in the postseason, Devin Booker. I'm tired of hearing excuses for Kevin Durant, his failures, man. The man's done nothing since he left Golden State, but they're going to label him the greatest Olympian of all time because he puts up some points and he's played all these Olympics. He's playing all these Olympics. Once again, I ask you, how many times did Magic Johnson play in the Olympics? How many times did Wilt Chamberlain play in the Olympics? Or Bill Russell? Or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Or Dr. J? Or Moses Malone? How many times did these guys play in the Olympics? How many times did Kobe Bryant play in the Olympics? How many times did Shaquille O'Neal play in the Olympics? Or Tim Duncan play in the Olympics? Kevin Durant's playing in the Olympics like 4 times now. And once again, playing with stacked teams. With great players. So I'm not impressed with Kevin Durant being labeled the greatest of all time in U.S. men's basketball history. First of all, it's not accurate because they've only been doing the professional players since 1992. So when you talk about the history of men's basketball, you're really saying since 1992. And when you look at how many Olympics he's played in compared to some of the other great players that played in the Olympics, once again, he's played in many more Olympics than a lot of these guys have. And good for Kevin Durant, great for him. He wants to go out there and play for the USA, and he wants to go out there and be a front runner and continue to, once again, play on these stacked teams and make himself look great. But this has no bearing on Kevin Durant and his overall career, man. This has no impact on his career. It moves the needle nothing. If they want to label Kevin Durant the greatest U.S. men's Olympian since 1992, oh, good on you, Kevin Durant. Good for you, man. You scored some points. You won some gold medals for the U.S. You went out there and you represented. Once again, you're doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not impressed. They're supposed to be winning. That's what we were laughing at with this Olympic team. They're out here struggling against these teams that they were favored by 30, 40 points to beat. So how impressive is it when you're beating teams that you're favored by 30 and 40 to beat? You're supposed to be crushing these teams. The USA is supposed to dominate basketball. It shouldn't even be a conversation. But with a lot of these goofs over the last 10 years, it's become a conversation. Because these guys are frail, they're soft, they lollygag out there on the court. Carmelo Anthony and Kevin Durant, the greatest Olympians. You ever think about that? Carmelo Anthony, they'll tell you, is the greatest U.S. men's Olympian. The man who's never made an NBA Finals, was never a leader, was never a real winner, none of these things. His game wasn't like that. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony, once again, like Kevin Durant, he can score the ball, but what else does he do? Does nothing else. Can't rebound, don't play no defense, not a playmaker, not a true leader. None of these things, man. He don't galvanize and make players around him better. None of this stuff, man. But these two guys are the guys that they're labeling as the greatest U.S. men's basketball players. Think about how that sounds. That exposes both of those players and exposes us, exposes the USA, and exposes a lot of these fools out here saying nonsense. The USA's been sending professionals since 92, guys, not since the 1930s. And we were winning gold medals without professionals. Without professionals. It wasn't fair. We were playing at a disadvantage and we were still winning. That's the point here. They didn't just start bringing the professionals and all of a sudden we were winning. No, we were winning without the professionals. The professionals took it to another level. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be on another level. I don't want to hear about Spain and Germany and South Sudan and Croatia and Lithuania and Germany and Canada. I don't want to hear about these teams. They're not on that level. I don't care how many NBA players or quote-unquote stars are on those rosters. It's not even close, guys. Like I said, you dropped the 92 Dream Team in Olympic play today. They're dominating teams by 30, 40 points easily, guys. Easily. Because of the fundamentals of basketball have not changed. The heart, the grit, the toughness, it should not have changed. Yeah, maybe some of the skills have changed. Some of the fundamentals should never change. They should be remaining the same. These guys have lost the fundamentals. They don't play with the same heart, the same grit, the same toughness. They don't play with that love of the game, that competitive fire. That's what's changed. It should never change. You guys remember that Michael Jordan commercial that just came out last month or so. It shouldn't change, but it has changed. And that's why they're making excuses now. Oh, the world caught up. No, it didn't. You guys got lazy. You got slow out there, man. You guys took these guys for granted. You're lollygagging. So once again, Kevin Durant being labeled as the greatest Olympian of all time exposed him as a front runner. You guys know the deal, man. He's great playing with these other great players. But once again, in the NBA, what has Kevin Durant done since he left Golden State? He's won 2 playoff series, guys, since he left Golden State. 2 playoff series. And just got swept last season. Swept 4 games to nothing, but this is the greatest Olympian. Once again, he exposed as a front runner. Kevin Durant, great offensive player, man, could shoot the ball. That's where it ends for Kevin Durant, man. That's literally where it ends. So he has all these other guys behind him, and they're going to label him as the greatest Olympian, man. Since 92. Make sure you say since 92, since they put pros in. And once again, let's make sure we understand that Kevin Durant's played in multiple Olympics. I don't want to hear about his total numbers, man. I don't want to hear. Like I said, once again, no doubt disrespect to Kevin Durant. I appreciate him going out there, and I said, and playing for the USA. But they got to stop with this nonsense, man. Everyone's the greatest of all time. Oh, the greatest Olympian of all time, man. Just stop. He's a front runner. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.